Thank you so much for doing this interview with us. Okay, hi everyone. This is Doodles and Daydreams show slash podcast, whatever you want to call it. I'm Chantel, and I'm going to be doing an interview today, and I'm so excited because I'm a big fan of this author. Her name is T.L. Shreffler, and she has written many books, but one of the ones that I have, the series is that I have read is the Cat's Eye Chronicles. For those of you that don't know who she is so talented. She wrote the series at age 12, which is the most mind-blowing thing to me of all. When I figured that out, I was just like stunned because I fell in love with the very first book, Sora's Quest, almost instantly. So, I'm gonna have her talk about the series and a little bit about herself. She's just multi-talented. She writes many other genres as well. She's done poetry, and you can find her books anywhere. As far as I know, I hope I'm getting that correct. You can find them on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. What is it? Books a Million, all any local bookstores, and as well online. She's also, may I say this? She's also a musician, singer-songwriter. Can I say that?
Yeah, you can. Yes, none of my music
Or
is
should I not?
available out there on the internet, but I
Okay.
am. Yes, I play piano and I play drums and my and
Wow.
a father figure in my life recently gave me a bass guitar to try to play bass, and you're a bass guitarist, I believe. Is that correct?
So I play the guitar. I'm not a bassist, but I do play electric guitar and acoustic.
That's
But
rad.
that just kind yeah, like the respect just keeps growing. I'm just like, wow. Okay, so she sings, she writes, she plays so many instruments. Oh my gosh, I only play one. And did you also do like tutoring? I thought I read that somewhere. Like, did
I
you have
did,
too?
I did. When I started tutoring at the writing center at Glendale Community College
Okay.
in San Fernando Valley, that's in California,
Mhm.
and I tutored writing, and I did that, gosh, probably until I was about 23, and I worked for a little gig called Tutor Doctor, and I had kids and tutored them, and
That's
it was
amazing.
a wonderful time.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. Well, okay, so The Cat's Eye Chronicles, I've only read those books of yours because like I just discovered them like this year and a few months back. I blew through them. I literally was glued to them. I loved them so much. And I know that you have one more coming in the series. Is that right? Just one?
That's correct. It'll be the last book. It does have a title. It's going to be called The Wanderer's Fate.
Okay.
And I'm kind of breaking the tradition here because we have Sora's Quest, we have Viper's Creed, we have Volcrian's Hunt, and it kind of follows that. But it's going to be called The Wanderer's Fate, and it's kind of a complete circle. In the beginning of Sora's Quest, we learn about her hero, Kaelin the Wanderer,
Yeah.
and how she kind of saved the humans from all sorts of different troubles during the War of the Races and was kind of the hero of the goddess. And
Mhm.
so here we are at the end of our story arc with the Wanderer's fate, and it's
Yeah.
all coming full circle. And Sora is going to be embracing her destiny as a wanderer of the goddess. And so that's very exciting.
It's so exciting. I am such a huge fan of all of your characters. Well, first of all, your writing is incredible. It's so luscious and
Thank you.
the world building and just the everything about it. I mean, I was trying to highlight things that I was like, I really want to remember this part, so I'm going to highlight it. But it was almost like I can't highlight a whole chapter because it was just so much. I was like, there's the way that you give the perspective of each character too. How you would just like uh you could go from the evil character and like I'm not going to get this right. I wrote this all down, but like how his level of evil and his revenge and the pursuit of that to the contrast of the main female character, which is Sora, the protagonist, hero at like she was so innocent and just young and incapable. Uh,
Yeah.
insecure, no powers, no fighting skills, nothing to take to and she was kidnapped. Okay, kidnapped. And she turns the situation around to making friends with her captors and then like fighting the evil with them. It's just I can't give away the book. I want everyone to read it for themselves, but it just really was impactful to me. Um, the perspective of all the different characters was just so incredible. Um,
Thank you.
and
Thank
I,
you.
I think there's a lot of good lessons in there. We love the name Sora, and we were wondering how you came up with that name for her
Oh, the
character.
name Sora. I believe I was watching no, not Card Captor, that's Sakura. It
Mhm.
was the Digimon
Okay.
anime
Okay.
back when I was 12 or 13 years old.
Cute. Okay.
And the girl in the Digimon anime was named Sora, and I loved her name.
That's
And so when
awesome.
I was trying to think of a name for a character, I went with Sora. I also love because it has the name Soar in it,
Yeah.
Soar. And in the old tongue in the book, Sora means fly, I
Yeah.
believe it was.
Yeah.
So, so there's kind of this like, she's like a bird flying out of a cage, and that
Yes.
kind of a
That's so
theme is sort of
beautiful.
throughout the story.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Yeah, that makes me love the name even more. I got chills. Yeah, we got chills over here.
I
Um,
actually heard from a reader who had named her daughter Sora.
I love
So I thought
that.
that was
Oh,
just so precious.
that is such it's such a pretty name. Yeah, it's a beautiful name. I wanted to say that after I read these books, I was just so inspired and I had to try to draw the characters for myself, like imagine what they would look like in my head. And I loved the artwork on the covers. I didn't know who did them, um, but they are what drew me in. The artwork, I was like, oh, beautiful artwork. I'm gonna go for that. And then I started reading the back. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna check this book out. Anyway, it just so inspired me in every way. Um, and I was wondering if you did any of the artwork, because I think I read that you did at one point, and I didn't know if you still do art, or what type of art you like to do, or
I do. I do photo manipulation and I do some digital painting. And I also use an AI assistant to kind of help
amazing.
with some of the harder bits and sometimes some of the backgrounds.
Oh, that's
So some
awesome.
of it is AI assisted now. Now,
Mhm.
what is that? Like 2 years ago, AI is when it kind of made its big
Yeah, I guess
stage.
so.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so now it's a little bit AI assisted. But
Mhm.
in the past, I did all the covers just from scratch. The very first versions of the books had the character Sora with the cat's eye necklace,
Mhm.
really big right up here in the corner. And so that one I created, I think I was 20 or 21, and
Wow.
that was done in Photoshop. And then
Amazing.
the the second series, the second re-release of the series,
Mhm.
that was, gosh, I want to say probably 2018 about was when the covers were updated, and that's where you have I'm still selling some versions on my Etsy store
Okay.
of Sora with her hands glowing green and she's standing in Fenbog Swamp,
Oh,
and it's
cool.
kind of a very Victorian script saying Sora's quest across the front, and there's a lot of filigree. And so that was all done photo manipulation
Mhm.
in Photoshop too. So that was
Oh,
done from scratch as a digital art.
that's awesome.
And I did want to talk a little bit about the first release of
Yes, let's do.
Cat's Eye. Yeah, so you mentioned that you were inspired because I wrote the first version of the story when I was 12. And it was definitely emotional catharsis for me.
Okay.
I lost my mom when I was 12, and
Right.
that was a big blow. And I think writing became like, it was like journaling, but
Yeah.
being able to go and like escape at the same time.
Yeah.
So a lot of my feelings at that age that were mostly nonverbal ended up going into the story. And back then it was called Cat's Eye.
Yeah.
So it had a totally different name, and
Hmm.
it was Sora's Quest, Viper's Creed, and Volcarian's Hunt all together as one manuscript. And I
Oh.
started posting it on fictionpress.com,
Hmm.
and that was, I want to say 2004.
Okay.
and I still have a lot of readers from Fiction Press back in the day.
That's awesome.
And it's just amazing. Like
Yeah.
they've kept me inspired in writing, and they still check in every now and then to see if I'm writing something new, and it's it's very inspiring.
That's cool.
Um, and so, just to share with you, in 2006, I self-published that very first copy of Cat's Eye,
Yeah.
and this is what it looks like. I
Oh,
have
oh
it
my
right
gosh.
here.
It's so pretty. Oh my
And
gosh. Okay,
so,
so this, I've seen this picture on Pinterest and I saved it. I love that picture. I love it.
thank you, thank you. And so, I wanted to give you some of the lore of
Yeah.
the cover.
Okay, good.
Um, so, this is actually done by Julie Dillon.
Okay.
And Julie Dillon is incredibly talented. I discovered her on DeviantArt. I must have been like 16 years old. I was getting ready to self-publish,
Yeah.
and I was looking for a cover artist, and I found Julie, and I'd been following her work for a little while. She was a big inspiration for me, and I ended up asking her if she would do the cover, and she was full up, like she didn't have any room in her schedule. So I kept coming back and asking her.
Oh.
And then I finally got her to do it, and so that was a commission by her.
Mhm.
Um, well, it turns out I looked her up. I think it was around 2018 or 2020,
Mhm.
and as it turns out, she actually has gone on to win. I believe it's three different Hugo Awards in
Wow.
2015, 2017, and 2018. And I believe
Wow.
she was also nominated for the Best Fantasy Award in illustration. Um,
Wow. I can
yeah,
totally see that. I can
and
see why.
she doesn't take commissions anymore. Let's just put it that way. Because I asked her if she wanted to do the re-release of the series, and it's just so the lore of the cover, because this isn't a collector's edition now. There's only 200 in print. Is that this? She's a really big time illustrator now, so it's very cool to
Wow.
have a piece of her work on the
That
book.
that is so exciting. Oh, I love that. Thanks for sharing. That is so cool. Yeah, like I can imagine not wanting to take commissions anymore at some point if you end up finding what your niche is and like yeah, but she's super talented and that's so cool that you have that as the cover. That's amazing that you commissioned her before she got too busy, I guess.
Only two, you say only how many
Hey,
copies?
yeah, how many copies are there of that?
You said 200?
You said
There was only 200 printed.
Wow.
Most of them have been sold. I do still have a few on hand. I release them usually towards the end of the year around Christmas.
oh,
And
so cool.
actually, they're about sold out. But once they're gone, they're gone.
Oh,
But
Yeah.
I next year I'm going to be releasing the 20th anniversary
Oh
edition.
my gosh, it's
And so
beautiful.
it's going to be the same manuscript of Cat's Eye for people who want the original version,
That's
but
amazing.
it's going to be reprinted with the gold text. You can see the difference.
Yeah, it's so lovely. It's glorious.
And you'll also notice that the OG has the very old
Yeah.
logo, and
Mhm.
the 20th anniversary edition is going to have this new logo.
That's
And
awesome.
so
Yeah,
there will be a few big differences between those for people who collect books.
that is exciting. Oh, sorry, my cat's in the way. Yeah, that is so awesome. We want to talk about the characters for sure. Um, I am so curious about Crash. He's the most amazing complex character. It's like you don't know whether to love him, hate him, fear him, um, all of the things at once. But also his connection to the assassins in the book is really um, something I would love to know more about. Like, how did you think of these characters? Maybe I'm getting too ahead of myself. I want these questions to be answered, but I also just remembered I want to jump back to, which we can do that later, talking about um, just your writing process at a young age, like that age to along your journey till now. So we'll jump back to that in a minute. But I guess let's do the characters first because it's exciting. I love all your characters, all
Thank
of them.
you.
Even the bad
Thank
one. I
you.
was like, this bad character is so like is just so complex. And then there's that little hint of like, is there possibly a soft spot in him somewhere. Anyway. Yeah,
Um, sure thing. Well, I'll start with Sora and then I'll move into Crash.
sure.
Because they're basically your two pillars in the whole series. I'm pretty much convinced that nobody cares what my plot is. I don't even care what my plot is really. It's really a story
I don't
about
even
Sora
care.
and Crash, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like
right.
and what you have is, innocence meeting a very hardened, very jaded person, like in Crash.
Oh yeah.
So you definitely have the yin and the yang and the light and the dark.
Mhm.
I would say one of my favorite things to hear readers say about Sora's character is how annoying she is in the beginning.
Yeah,
I love it because it
I
tells
would,
me that I did it right.
yeah. I would say that too. There were times where I was like, girl, what? Yeah.
Yeah, she's so innocent, she's so naive, and she's very entitled.
Hmm.
And she has this sort of misconception of what the world is like.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
um it's kind of supposed to be that way because her story arc is going from that naive space and growing into a wanderer, a warrior,
Yeah. Hmm.
and so when she comes out into the world, she's very naive and she's kidnapped by Crash, the assassin, who is extremely worldly, extremely jaded,
Yeah.
and actually is kind of the villain for the first book.
Yeah.
So in a sense, I started the series with the thought that I wanted to take an anti-hero character who is Crash and Volcrian, who is our basic villain who's on a hunt for revenge.
Hmm.
And I wanted to kind of make it so Crash was the villain. And
Hmm.
Volcrian is actually a good guy in his world. And he's after justice.
Hmm.
And Sora is kind of caught in the middle, where in the beginning she hates Crash because she's a
Yeah.
murderer and he murders her father. Ah, it is so
Exactly.
complicated. And she hates him. And then all of a sudden, in Fenbog Swamp, she saves his life and there's a shift. And he realizes that there's something about her that's more than just naivety and innocence, that she's actually courageous and loyal.
Right.
And so his heart starts to open and he starts to change. And then for Sora, she realizes through his vulnerability, because he almost drowns, that
Yeah.
he's not the scary titanium assassin. He's actually um, kind of sad. He's kind of alone. He's very solitary. There's like a woundedness there. And so from there, it's like their friendship starts to grow and it begins with sort of reassessing their assumptions about each other. And everything really changes when Volcarian, at the end of Sora's quest, does this big attack. And I won't give away any spoilers, but I do feel that at that point is when Sora takes it personally and she realizes, hey, even if in the beginning this person's motivations were justified, he's gone too far. Like this is crossing the line. And now Volcarian is her enemy too.
Oh yeah.
And and so there's kind of this switching of roles that happens in Sora's quest, where in the beginning everything looks one way, and by the end everything's kind of been reshuffled and moved around. So
Yeah.
that was fun. That was
That
fun as a writer.
it it's so exciting. So I love all that information. Okay, so what more can we talk about? There's so many things that we have to talk about.
So
Um,
you mentioned my writing back in
yes.
the day, and how did I do that as a 12-year-old?
Yeah.
And I will say that it was an escape for me. And I think because I was processing grief, it was like therapy. So I sought it out and I just lost myself in my imagination. And it just turned, I was already a reader. I
Yeah.
was already reading like Terry Goodkind and Kristen Britton and Brian Jacques and Neil Gaiman. I was already reading these like adult authors. So I just threw myself into writing. And I mean, part of it was probably coping because
Hmm.
I don't think 12-year-olds should be spending every day writing novels. Like, I think they should be outside playing with friends and doing like childhood things,
Hmm.
or girlhood things,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm.
But instead, I just got lost in my fantasy. And
Yeah.
I'd like to think that I am still a little lost in my
I
fantasy.
love that. And I would say that that's not a bad thing. I mean, yeah, kids should maybe play outside for sure. But um, I think that's actually a really good thing to be a kid and to have the opportunity to do that, to just pour out your creativity and get out all, process your grief, especially if you lose a parent, at that age. My goodness, I can't think of a better way to spend your time, working through it. At least you never get over it, but
So, writing at age 12, there was no process,
okay, yeah.
pure by the pants, just writing, you know. There was no thought. I didn't think about the plot. I didn't think about the characters. It was just purely intuition, purely gut instinct. And after I finished writing the manuscript, my dad handed it off to one of his friends who was a children's book writer. And she started giving me some feedback and helping me with plot and whatnot.
Mhm.
But I will say, plot was probably my weakest part as a writer. Plot has always been the biggest struggle for me. I've always felt like my writing comes from my characters because for me, it's kind of a catharsis and there's this
Mhm.
aspect of journaling to it. And I just put my heart in there and I go, like, what is their story, you know?
Yeah.
But plot sometimes is like where it gets complicated. What's happening in the world, right? Like what's the big picture?
Right.
So that kind of stuff I actually ended up learning in my 20s. And I spent a lot of time learning how to plot novels in my 20s and screenplays and just different forms of plotting, how to plot a series. I
Yeah.
did a lot of editing.
Wow. That's so
So,
cool to know. That's
yeah, but at 12 years
exciting.
old, you don't know how to do
You
any of
don't
that.
know. No, you don't. Well, and you don't know it at 40. How old am I? However old I am. And I haven't never really tried to write a story. I've definitely thought about it many times, but writing is exciting to me. Um, it's definitely something that I don't that the plot writing would not come natural. That would be the biggest challenge in my opinion too. But yeah, so all right. I have a general question that maybe you could answer. Maybe you can encourage other authors or artists, but like are there any like tips or maybe exercises that you've learned over the years that have helped you get out of a rut? Like, say, you just like inspiration can come, but it's like sometimes you feel like it's there for a second and then it's gone because oh well, how will it work? How can I tie this to that? I don't know. So oh, it's gone, and then you feel deflated and you feel like I don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying by that? Like. You can feel it's like inspiration is a feeling sometimes, but it's not a plan. It doesn't come with the
Yes,
plan.
yes. Planning is a skill that we learn,
Hmm.
and inspiration comes from falling in love with what you do.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
you can always learn to be a better planner,
Hmm.
and but sometimes it's hard to find inspiration. So,
Hmm.
sometimes when I'm looking for inspiration, to write like either a new series or to just get in, because right now I'm writing a new series and I'm trying to go back and write a second draft. And I'm looking for that inspiration, like that gut like it's a gut connection to my work
Hmm.
where I can start opening up these characters and really pouring into them.
Hmm.
And I think it comes from really sitting with the work. You sit with it and you sort of try to connect to it and you put yourself in it and you really think about it. And it sort of just stays on your mind. And as you fall in love with your story, or as you fall in love with your music or the songs that you're working on, the inspiration flows, I think, from that. It's just a feeling of connection and love to your work.
That's so cool. And I think that's so encouraging. And it's kind of freeing to me because you can apply that to whatever art form you're doing. It's like if you really love what you're doing, then I think it can help you to work massage out all the details or whatever along the way and maybe help you get forward rather than get stuck and oh, I don't know, I'm insecure, I'm not sure, and you question and doubt. That's so
Yes,
cool.
yeah, and specifically for writing, when I get stuck um with a character, let's say I'm writing and writing, and all of a sudden I just don't know what to write next. Often because I'm a character first writer, it
Mhm.
comes from world building. So if I can take more time to explore the world, sometimes all of a sudden I'll break through a writer's block or a point that I'm getting stuck. And sometimes I just need to sit down and get out a pen
Mhm.
and make a big like an arc, like a rainbow,
Mhm.
and just write down what is my character's motivation? What is my character's story arc? Like
Yeah.
what is going on in the world right now? And I just have to
Mhm.
write it down.
Yeah.
And sometimes seeing it on paper, not on my phone, but like actually writing it on paper and looking at it,
Mhm.
um, it suddenly makes clear what I'm writing.
That's
Because a
cool.
lot of writing is intuitive, I
Yeah.
think, and a lot of it's subconscious. So for writers out there that might be watching this and working on their own novels, sometimes if you are in the moment and you're just writing from your gut, actually sitting down and making that story arc and making that character arc can be very illuminating, and doing it for all of your characters.
That's
Um,
exciting. That's really, really great. Those are really helpful, I think. And you can apply them again to whatever you're doing, I think. Um, yeah, sometimes you like if it was a sketch, like it does help to, like, say I've already gotten into something, like I'm already applying paint. Well, I can just like start to get scared and not know what to do. Like, what if I mess it up? Or what if this is the wrong medium or the wrong shade? I can just go and do like a quick, like take some notes on paper, sketch out a little rough idea or test out my palette, whatever. That's helped me before I've noticed. So that is exciting. You can do that with writing too. I love that.
Yeah, yes, and just bouncing off of what you just said, it's really good, I have found, as someone who's kind of like in my late 30s and sort of been doing this for a little bit and have been publishing all along. It is wonderful and freeing for me to work on a project with no stakes. There's no stakes.
All right.
And I don't mean juicy, delicious steaks. I mean there's no deadline.
Yeah.
There's no goal. There's no monetization. There's none of that. There's no concern or thought to what's going on in the publishing world. Who's going to be reading this? How am I going to market this online? It's like, no, none of that matters. Like sometimes it's nice to have just a private story that I'm working on in the background, and no stakes. Nobody has to read it. And often I think that our best work comes from that, from the privacy and the vulnerability and that intimate space
Mhm.
of just connecting emotionally to our art, because art is about connection.
It's so true. I love that. It is about connection. I think that's why a big reason why we started Doodles and Daydreams is because we were searching for more of a connection through our creativity, through exploring our creativity, and being artists and learning and growing. Um, we were I am always verbal processing on all of the Doodles and Daydreams episodes. They're just me verbal processing, you know, my journey. And it's been really good. It's been really helpful. So it's exciting to get to hear your perspective as well on writing. It's actually really inspiring. And it's like, maybe I could write a book.
Well,
Because
you'd
it sounds
probably
so
be a
fun.
wonderful writer. You'd probably be a wonderful writer. I find a lot of language is music, and if you are already enmeshed in music and you love music, then your music's going to come out in your writing.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
every song has a story, right?
Yeah.
So the two really do cross over quite a bit.
That's so cool. I love it. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my notes just so I can figure out
Okay,
what.
while you do your notes, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
And I'll edit me out because I'm not but so what was the timeline? Because I mean we talked a little bit about you doing this, but I haven't read your book. I didn't realize you wrote them when you were 12. So what was, you probably said this earlier, but the timeline from when you wrote your book to when you were, 12, when you started it, when you finished it, and then when you published it, and how did you self-publish? I mean, you don't have to go into super detail, but I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
Because like that was even before, like now, self-publishing is like more. I
Click
mean,
a
some people
button.
are doing it.
It's click a
Yeah,
button.
yeah. But back then, I'm like, how did she do that? Anyway,
I don't think we should edit that out. I think we
no,
should just leave it if that's okay. Or I can just repeat it myself.
that's true.
But
You can leave
but
me in there.
that was going to be one of my
Your questions too.
a
Okay.
lot. It's like a lot of questions in one because it's like a whole long part of your life, many years of your life that, I'm so curious too. Like, how do you self-publish? That's just incredible to me that and why did you? How did you? What made you want to go independent? I mean, I know the answer, but I just want to hear, I want the audience to know.
Yes, well, okay, so why did I want to go independent is a whole different question than how do I publish. So I'll start with
Sure.
how do I publish, and then I'll get into why independent.
Good. Okay.
And so how do I publish? So when I was 12, we are talking the 2000s.
Mhm.
So I finished Cat's Eye, that book I was pointing at earlier, when
Mhm.
I was 12, 13, right in there.
Mhm.
And after a few rounds of editing when I was 16 in 2000, like 2006, no, 2008, sorry about that, was when I decided to self-publish. And my father ran an independent music production company, and he had a few labels that their music production company put out.
Mhm.
And so he was already, if you can think of it in music terms, self-publishing. And so I really had the mindset from him to just, pull up your pants and do it. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
do it.
It's like if you want to be an artist and you want to get your art out there, you can try to go to the traditional route and it will take years of time and it's a very high bar to reach. But if you don't want to wait, there
Mhm.
is nothing wrong with just going for it.
Mhm.
And especially with the way technology is right now, I'll get into that later, but it's so much easier now than it was.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
Especially for my dad's generation, night and day.
Yeah.
But 2006, 2008 in there was when I self-published Cat's Eye. And so it was my dad helped me. First off, I'd spent those 2 years looking for an agent when
Mhm.
I was 14 and 15 years old. Back then, young adult fantasy was not even a genre, really. It was just young adult fiction and or it was fantasy. So a lot of the authors that we think of young adult fantasy right now, such as Robin Hobb and The Blue Sword and these kinds of books, or I'm sorry, am I getting that right? Robin Hobb, Robin McKinley, a different Robin. Robin Hobb, also a fantasy author.
Mhm.
Robin McKinley and The Blue Sword. That was just placed in adult fiction. There was no like young adult fantasy genre. So there was either juvenile fiction, which was kind of under the age of Sora's Quest,
Mhm.
or there was adult fiction, which was kind of over the age of Sora's Quest. So getting an agent was difficult because you're trying to pitch this story, and it's not Harry Potter because they're not tweens,
Mhm.
and it's not Twilight because Twilight hadn't come out yet.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a bucket for it. And so it was very difficult trying to find an agent and trying to figure out how am I going to pitch this book, especially as a teenager. But I had adults helping me. You don't do anything by yourself as a teen.
Sure. Right. Mhm.
And so at 16, I just decided I already had readership on Fiction Press,
Mhm.
and people had been asking about wanting to buy a copy of the book. And so I just decided that I was going to move forward and self-publish. And so my dad gave me a business loan.
Oh, that's so awesome. What a great dad.
We even had a little loan document.
That's awesome.
And he Yeah, and then I went online and I found Julie Dillon to do the cover, and I looked at all of these different book covers and I designed it in Photoshop. And then I decided that it wasn't enough to just have a Word doc interior design. I needed to do it professionally. So the little 16-year-old entrepreneur in me went ahead and bought InDesign, which was a typography program, got a book on typography, self-studied, and then put that all together.
Wow.
And you can see if you look at it that a 16-year-old did it. Like, it's not perfect, but it's just I think back on that and I'm like, my gosh, I was really like I was gonna do it, I was gonna do it right. So
Mhm.
and then when we self-published, I just sold a lot of those copies online, and I sold them directly to fiction press readers, and I had a little website, and that's what I did. If this was before the internet in the before times, I probably would have ended up going to local farmers markets or bookshops and asking if they would carry a local author or an independent author. And
Mhm.
people are still doing that today. It's not like that ended, but the direct to consumer connection that you get from the internet just wasn't there.
Right.
So, yeah, so that's how I did it at 16.
That's amazing.
And then went through my creative writing major. I graduated. Took me 6 years to get through college.
Mhm.
It took me a while. And I graduated with my creative writing degree in 2012. And everyone in my major was still thinking in the traditional manner, which is you get the agent, you go the traditional route and you publish that way. And I was strongly discouraged from self-publishing, even though I had already self-published and told not to do it because I'd be tanking my career and I'd be shooting myself in the foot, and no publisher would ever touch a self-published author. They do now. and so, and so that's so that it didn't put me off because I had already had success self-publishing and because I already had readership on fiction press from fictionpress.com, and because I already had readership and I had already had success self-publishing, and I had seen my dad's business go through this millennium shift where CDs turned to MP3s, and I thought, I bet you the traditional publishing route's going to change too. And
Wow.
right around that time, and I told you my readers are my inspiration and they have really helped me build my career. A reader reached out to me and she told me about goodreads.com. And she said, you need to get your books on Kindle and you need to get on goodreads.com. And I was like, Kindle, what's that?
Yeah, what's
And that's about when I started getting into ebook publishing, and I read how other authors were doing it, and I read some amazing success stories, especially from authors that were publishing vampire novels, because Twilight was like soaring high.
Yes.
And so everything vampire was selling like hotcakes.
Mhm.
And that's when I just decided, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. And I decided to turn Cat's Eye into a series because everyone said series sell better than just a standalone book. And that seems to be true. Like that seems to have been my experience. So I split it up and I started building it out. And I did terribly at first. I got the worst reviews. I remember crying. I just got the worst reviews on Amazon in the beginning. And I just remember being so frustrated. I thought it was going to be easy. I'm 21, 22, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be the easiest thing. It was not easy because once you get something out on the internet, then you got to hear everyone's opinion about it. And then you realize, oh, I'm not a genius.
Yeah. Mhm. And sometimes there's just mean people out there too. So,
Sometimes a lot of them seem to be critics. It's just a lot of
yes.
critical people. And so I actually made friends with another online author who was self-publishing, and this is a good story for you.
Okay.
Her name was Intizar Kanani. And Intizar was self-publishing a book called Thorn, and it was a fairy tale retelling about uh I believe it was the fairy tale that's about the seven swans.
Mhm.
Um, and I might have gotten that wrong, so don't quote me on that. But it was an amazing fairy tale retelling. I fell in love with it. I fell in love with Thorn. I reached out to her and I said, "Hey, would you be a beta reader for me? And would you beta read Sora's Quest and tell me what's wrong with it so that I can make it into a better book?"
Mhm.
And she basically told me, "Well, my book has no ending." And that's because I had taken one book and split it into three novels. And she said, "You need to make these each like their own story." And so she kind of turned that light on in my head. And I was like, oh, okay. So she basically beta read. She gave me a stack of feedback. And I rewrote Sora's Quest and I stuck it out there. And boom, I started getting 5-star reviews, 5-star reviews. And
Wow.
I was like, okay, this needs to be done this way. Okay. And then Intizar got approached by an agent. And then she sold her manuscript to HarperCollins. And then she became this amazing children's author now. And so now she has this big career. And I'm just like so honored to know her and to have seen her begin in one place and grow into this other place. And I think now she's with a more of a boutique publisher. But it's just been amazing and inspiring seeing her career take off and being able to say, oh, I knew her when.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
so awesome. How cool that she was willing to do that for you too. That's so kind. Um,
So kind.
and so that did you say that she sort of after she gave you the feedback, you had the realization that maybe my story is incomplete and then you needed to like tie it all together or something or was it more like
Yeah.
each book you were kind of thinking that it was done with or that you needed to like yeah, make it all cohesive. I'm not sure exactly my question, but I'm just wondering what it made you realize about what was lacking, what you were not seeing.
Well, I guess what had happened was I took this story, which was Sora's Quest and Viper's Creed and Volkarian's Hunt, all as one story. And as you can see, it's not that thick of a book.
Mhm.
And I turned it into three books that are about that thick.
Yeah.
And so Sora's Quest didn't really have a conclusion. It was basically just me taking that manuscript and chopping it at a certain point,
Mhm.
and then taking the next manuscript and just like starting it like from there. So readers like to feel like they have finished a book at the end of the book.
Mm.
And I just did not give a satisfying conclusion. And like I told you, plotting is my weakness. I
Mm.
struggle to plot.
Yeah.
And so Thora's Quest did not have a complete story arc. It did not have a complete character arc. It all kind of hung at the end
Oh,
and then relied on the next two books to fill in the gaps. And
right.
readers don't like that.
Right. So that kind of brings us to now. Like, well, there's still some other cool information about your dad, and your dad sounds like a cool guy. And what a,
He was
um,
groovy. He was
yeah,
groovy.
yeah. And I know he's passed away as well, and so I know that's also probably part of your journey was I mean, I'm just blown away by your story that you've accomplished so much on your own and you just kept being like resilient. Like that's what I'm seeing is like you're like I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going even though you cried and you felt like oh I'm defeated and that's just amazing. But you're still writing the last book, right? Or are you already finished? I don't even know.
It's a finished manuscript,
Mhm.
but you know, and it's funny. I was talking to one of my readers, and she mentioned at this point she would just be happy to have the character arcs, finished. And I thought, you know, that's true, but there's a slow power creep kind of happening in the background. Every book, the characters get more and more powerful, especially Crash. We got him starting off
Yeah.
as sort of this exile from the hive. He had his training got cut short. His grandmaster threw him out, and so his whole ambitions of becoming like a grandmaster assassin have
Yeah.
been just destroyed. And so he's just kind of this lost person, like
Mhm.
floating around doing evil.
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm.
And so, we see his power creep throughout the entire series, and then he goes back a little bit and gets a new grandmaster. And then in book 6, he finally attains grandmastery. So, book 7, he is the vessel of the dark god. And
Wow.
so it's like debatably the most powerful assassin to have ever lived. So, I just the manuscript's finished, but there is a sense of bigness that I want to bring to the story that's just not there yet.
Hmm.
And speaking earlier about that fear,
Hmm.
when you
Yeah.
pick up the paintbrush and you're scared because you're like, oh, maybe this is the wrong medium, or maybe this should be bright gold. Oh, maybe it's going to be too much.
Mhm.
I'm kind of hitting that too because it's
Yeah.
series ending fear. I want it to take your head off. I want it to be like this book caps the series. What an amazing novel. And I honestly don't know how to get that
Hmm.
feeling out of the manuscript right now. So I'm
Ah,
just
so
reworking it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm just reworking it.
Got you. Yeah. Oh, that's so exciting. I kind of love that, how it takes you to these levels and you're just like you think you're getting to this plateau like okay, it looks like we're seeing how it's all coming together and then it's like there's a hint of like what there's could be so much more. I bet that's a challenge for you, but I know you can do it.
Thank you.
I know I'm gonna love it. It's gonna be amazing. How do you view the social media, the constant changing, fast pace that we're all dealing with? Having to post online and document this and that and share and how do you think that affects people and their creativity process, I would say? And how does it affect
Ooh.
you, you know?
Yeah, oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. The internet has changed.
Yeah.
The internet has changed. Back in 2010, 2012, when I started self-publishing, the worst we had was Goodreads, and Goodreads was a nice place. You
Hmm.
didn't have book talkers writing nasty, nasty reviews to these poor creatives. You just didn't have that. I have read, and it's not just indies that get targeted. It's big releases that are also getting just torn down. And you gotta like keep a mental space for like these book talkers, they're young people. Oh, they're like maybe 14, 15, maybe 23, 24. And I remember when I was 23, I was robust and
Hmm.
I was like, I'm gonna like conquer the world and I had confidence, but I didn't have perspective. And sometimes with perspective, you gain a little bit of compassion
Yeah.
towards the other. And so for me, what I see is just young people
Mhm.
targeting and leaving very opinionated reviews without thought
Right.
towards the writers or the creatives. But this is what writers and creatives are up against. A lot of the internet is impersonal.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you are up against having to interface with people online, there is sort of a lack of personal connection.
Yeah.
They're not actually connecting with you. They're looking kind of at their own phone and they're in their own head.
Hmm.
And it's all sort of like a big life journal or like a really big
Yeah.
blog. Like people are just kind of in themselves as they're responding to people. And they're not actually face to face and they're not actually connecting like that. One of the things that I love about this interview with you and it being my first interview is that I finally get to speak to my readers face to face.
I'm so honored that I get to be the one to do it.
Yes, thank you for reaching out to me and thank you for the opportunity.
Mhm.
Um,
Of
and
course.
I just, I love my readers. I love that I get to share the Cat's Eye Chronicles with them. And for any young writers that are starting out or young creatives that are starting out, you're going to have to find a way to keep your art at the center of what you do and ignore all of the noise.
Mhm.
You're just going to have to ignore the reviews. I don't read my reviews. I don't go online and actually read them. I occasionally go onto Amazon and I kind of like take a peek at my star rating just to make sure it hasn't fallen too far down.
Yeah.
And I don't mind about what's going on Goodreads. I never check Goodreads anymore because I just don't like the vibe of the website right now.
Yeah.
I feel like there's been a lot of kind of trending meanness.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they don't moderate it more. I feel
Yeah.
like they should.
I think so too.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I just and I've seen that across all authors. I actually haven't checked mine. But I'm sure I do too on there. But I actually don't read my reviews. I just check my star ratings. I do, however, respond to readers on Instagram, and I would caution young readers, I'm sorry, young writers, because my heart goes out to the climate that they're coming into. You're going to get a lot of people being critical towards your work online.
Yeah.
What really matters is, do you like what you do? Do
That's
you
so
like
good.
what you do?
That is so
Because
good.
if you like it, if you like what you do,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter what anyone has to say about it.
Right. I
So,
agree. I agree with you. That is so good. I am so honored that we honestly I didn't even think that you would respond when I messaged you. What happened was so when I read Sora's Quest, loved it. I had to go to the next book immediately. But when I read the ending, which is the part I was getting to, the personal letter that you wrote to the reader, it has amazing things in there that really spoke to me. Obviously, my heart broke for your losses, your mom and your dad both. And because I know what that loss is like to a degree, and so I was just like, oh my, I literally just cried and cried because I was it's only been like a couple years since my mom has passed, and I was still very much going through, you know, well, I guess we're always grieving, we're always going to grieve that.
yes,
That doesn't ever really go away, but
never.
it reignited the loss and the pain, and I was just crying. But I was so encouraged by a lot of the things that you said, and I wanted to like share them with people. Um, so I love how you said that life is empty without struggle, because that really is the truth. It really is the truth. Unless you go through really, hard things, you don't get a new perspective of how to rise back up and, overcome, and you can kind of come back stronger. And I definitely think I have little by little through losing my mom. Um, you said
And becoming a mom, I imagine.
and becoming a mom, yeah. And so um, yeah, it's a big thing to overcome. But you don't ever overcome your loss, obviously. But I just love that you said that because it's really truthful. It's reality, and life is empty without it. If you never have any like hard things to go through, then you aren't
Wow.
really going to be able to learn.
Grief has brought me so much inspiration in my life. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I mean, I miss my parents and I love them dearly. I still have relationships with them. I
Yeah.
know they're past, but my relationship with my mom is in my heart every day. And my relationship with my dad is in my heart every day. And I take them everywhere with me. They're not gone to me. They might be gone in the world, but they're not gone in my heart.
It's
Like they're with me, they're through me, you know?
Yes, I
And
love that. It's true. It's so true. And I feel the same way. I feel like my mom is like always cheering me on still to this day. And that's just a good thing. So, be good parents to your kids out there.
yes,
It
they're your
really
legacy.
helps.
Yes.
But so okay, this is another thing you said. I was not, it says this is your quote to the reader at the end of the book saying, I was not willing to waste a single second of my life not pursuing what I loved. Our time on this earth is precious. Every decision is paramount. We don't get to redo life. You can't wait for someday. And that is also just so true, guys. Like, it's just so encouraging. I love that. Like, I was sobbing. I'm like, oh, she's speaking to me. I just loved it. You're just a phenomenal person. You really are, and re remarkable. Like people need to read. If people only read the end of the book where you're sharing your life, like you should write a story about your life and share all your perspective. That is also something you probably should consider. Just saying.
Thank you, thank you. But I think we all just need to be reminded of it
hmm
that if you're a creative person and you are wanting to do something with your creative work, you get out there and you do it within reason. I mean, we all have obligations, but you give your heart permission to just do it and don't be scared, like the internet's not a scary place. We
Right.
make our own. We make our own.
Yeah, I love that so much.
You are starting your YouTube channel right now. Is this your first time being an interviewer and interviewing someone?
Yes. I mean, I've been interviewed before, like I said, with my family, always with my family. And usually I didn't do much of the talking. A lot of times my sisters would, because they were the main I would say the main characters. I mean, no, I kind of was too. But yeah, they were the main
Yeah.
vocalists.
And you just started a new band, right?
So yeah, so long story. I'll try to keep it really short, but I used to be in a band called Isley with my siblings. And from the age of 18, or we started in 1998, way back in 1998, so many years ago.
Well, your fashion is trending right now, so
Was that my
the
fashion is
fashion is
trending?
trending.
Thank you.
The 90s are back.
Yeah, so that's when it started, and then we got signed to Warner Brother Records in 2003. And we did put out a lot of records with them and EPs, and we did some music videos, and I've traveled, and our first tour was with a band called Coldplay. I'm sure you've heard of them, but yes, Coldplay
I
was
have heard of,
they were
yes.
our first like major tour and our first real long tour because we were just doing Texas gigs around. And like I said, it's a long story, but yeah, we that was many years. We traveled all over Europe and US many times with different bands. And around 2015 was the last album that I did with them. So it's been a good 10 years. But after a long, right, not long, when did my, okay, so around, I think 2012 to 13 is when I started Rising Fawn, which is my other side project band with me, just me and my husband. And we did an album and EP. And then, like I said, it had been a good 10 years since we did anything. I just quit. Some stuff went down, some things happened, painful things, and I just gave up. I quit and I just said, okay, goodbye to all that. So, and it wasn't until when my mom passed, hello, grief. Grief knocked on the
Hello,
door and
Grace.
said, hey, you need to do something. And um and I started wanting to do something again, but I still had a lot of things to process, a lot of things to process with music. So it's been a long, slow journey, but my husband, as soon as he heard me say, I think I want to do music again, he's like, all right. And he built a whole studio out of our garage. So we have a studio here at my house, which we are recording another EP. We're gonna put out a vinyl at the end of this year. No, in January, right? Yeah. So we're putting out a vinyl, Rising Fawn. It doesn't have a name
Exciting.
yet. So yeah, we're doing a lot of things. That's been ongoing, and I'm still processing where I'm at with all of it. But and then just the art thing though is something I've always wanted to be. I always wanted to be a Disney artist from the time I was a little girl. I have always just been obsessed with art. So that's something that's kind of like new territory in a sense. Like I'm self-taught. Well, I'm a self-taught everything. I'm a self-taught musician, self-taught. I've never had real lessons on anything. So that's where I'm at today. And so that's why I was just so shocked that you responded, and like I didn't expect that you were going to even respond when I sent you those drawings of your characters. And I'll just say this again, I was so honored because I was so impacted. Like, and it wasn't just the fact that you had lost your mother and your father and that we connected on the grief thing, but it was just more of like, this person has something to say, and I really want to, I would love to meet this person or talk to them or have their voice be heard, you know? So um,
Yes.
I
I
can't
just
believe I got
wanted
to turn into this. It's so exciting.
I just I just wanted to point out that it is just amazing that you are in your 40s
Mhm.
and that we are both middle-aged right now, but you're in your 40s and that you are starting a brand new venture. You are starting a new
Yeah.
podcast, you're starting a new YouTube channel, you're
Yeah,
getting back into art, you're starting a new band. Like people in their 40s need to do this
right.
because not to be, I mean if some fame or notoriety comes out of it, but it's because it brings you joy.
It
It's
does.
because it brings you joy and it helps you connect to who you are. Because as an artist, we
Mhm.
cannot give up our art. It's part of us.
That's
And when
right.
you walk away from your art, you walk away from yourself.
It's true. It's so true. And Rhonda and I, we both know about that. It's why we started up Doodles and Daydreams, I think, is because we were like, we need this in our lives. We need this. Um, and we need to stop running away from it and being scared and like I can't like
Yeah.
in your mid life, that's the age where you start waking up and going, wait a minute, what do I really want? You know? And then you figure it out and you're like, this is great. And I'm gonna do
And
this.
I think you're going to do it bigger, better, and way bigger and way better because you have life experience now.
That's
And
true.
so you have perspective,
Mhm.
you know how to uh like plan it, and you know how to what your expectations need to be.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just have more, and you actually, our brains develop throughout our lifetime. You've got more nuance now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your
Thank
art is
you.
going to be a little different, but it's going to be good and it's going to be
Thank you.
better.
Thank you so much. That's so encouraging. Same to you. I love it. It's so great. Well, oh yeah, so did you have like, do you have anything on the horizon that you are excited about that you would like to share with anyone? Before,
Well, I'm glad you asked.
yeah.
We have a brand new release coming. I am starting a new series. The series is titled Skydust Kingdoms,
Oh, I
and
like that name.
it's going to be a Cinderella retelling in a high fantasy world. And there's going to be all sorts of monsters. There's going to be mana channeling. There's going to be magic meets technology. There's going to be slow burn romance. There's going to be kind of that fated destiny of lovers, that kind of thing. So
Oh my gosh.
very excited about it. And I wanted to share a book trailer with you guys.
Love that.
Also,
Mhm.
if you want me to recommend people to you for interviews in the future, I don't know how often you guys plan on doing it, but I thought I had a great
Yeah.
time.
Thank you.
And
I would love that. Yeah, actually, we are like wanting to do, I would love to do more interviews. I get so nervous, but like I get so excited. I can't help, it's like I can't help myself. I want to give people a voice and a platform. So send it
and
my
you're
way.
so warm and easy to connect to.
Thank you.
And I feel like I felt so comfortable and I was just talking with a
Good.
friend and I felt like
Good.
that's the kind of vibe,
The
yeah, that you
same
want.
goes to
I
you.
love
I
it.
felt the same way. I was just like, oh, this is going to be great. Like, yeah. So please feel free to send people my way. Yeah.
Do you care if they're artists or authors or musicians or
No.
poets, or you got a preference? Okay, cool.
All of them. Bring them in because like that's kind of our vision for this is like we just want to give artists and creative a platform. You know, we want to give them a voice. And it doesn't have to be someone famous. It doesn't it can be anyone, like just anyone who you feel deserves it. Like or
Yeah, we're
what
also,
even
I think we're like trying to inspire and encourage the new generation of creatives that are dealing with AI. And
mm,
so many things you said like relate to that
yeah.
because you
Yeah.
can't, just like you can't listen to the noise, AI is also noise. And
This might be good for people struggling with that. Where AI is concerned, yes, it repeats patterns. That's all it is pattern recognition.
true.
Yeah.
And it's still worth getting a skill set, a traditional skill set, learning an instrument, learning how to do art, learning how to write, because your unique voice will come out in your art. Your unique voice will come out in your writing, and
Mhm.
you are going to do things that AI can't do because at the end of the day, you are the source.
Yeah.
You are the source of the
I love it.
creativity, okay?
I
AI
love
is
that.
just a tool.
I agree. It is just a tool, and don't be fooled by that because people are like,
Of
even,
Yeah, I still
even
do
us,
that.
I'm still like, oh, that's so amazing. I could never achieve that. But do I want to achieve
course
that?
you could achieve that. You could do way better. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
Yeah.
Love it. You
I
are the
love
source.
it.
I love that. That's
Yeah,
so
that
good.
is so encouraging. Oh my gosh.
Sparkles.
Yes. Oh, seriously, Sparkles.
I love sparkles and glitter.
Poof.
Yes, I
Just make
love
it sparkle.
it.
So let me share with you right now the book trailer for the Skydust Kingdoms, Book One, The Skydust Duke, that will be available in March 31st, 2026.
Oh,
I don't understand the urgency. Why must the Duke choose a bride tonight?
It's all a bit scandalous. High King Valienthi is pressuring the Blackwood family to see the Duke settled and out of the way. To put it delicately, the princess spoke too highly of him.
But he's the mad dog. His foul temper is infamous.
They say the war drove him insane.
Doesn't he wear a mask to cover his scars?
He does, but he's the hero of the realm who defeated the Demon King. And a duke is still a duke.
In a land where the sky once fell, power belongs to those who can wield the dust of an ancient meteor, which changed the flora and fauna of planet Nylos into a frightening and magical place. Lady Celeste Astel has spent her life in the shadows, overlooked, underestimated, and quietly enduring the cruelty of her stepmother and half-sisters. Born without the gift of mana channeling, her noble family sees her as a useless girl fit to work in the stables and nothing more. Lord High Commander Elias Blackwood, dubbed the Mad Dog by the infamous lady's letter, has scared off a half-dozen brides since returning home from the war. Haunted and hardened by the horrors of the abyss, he has no patience for simpering courtiers or marriage schemes. But his father has arranged a birthday gala for him, and Elias has to choose a bride by midnight. After a twist of fate brings Celeste and Elias together in the moonlit gardens of Gravenmere Castle, an unexpected spark ignites. Elias might be the most powerful super soldier in the kingdom, but will he remove his armor for a chance at love? Enter a world of sky-touched warriors and weapons shined with meteor dust. A world built on the respawning of a demon king, a world where the nobility wield great mana powers, and commoners are at the mercy of monsters that roam the land. Welcome to the Skydust Kingdoms Book 1, The Skydust Duke, by award-winning fantasy author T.L. Shreffler, celebrated author of the Cat's Eye Chronicles. Pre-order The Skydust Duke, now on Amazon. Release date on March 31st, 2026.
wow. Gosh, Teresa, thank you. Like from the bottom of my heart. This is just so, so great. What a treat this was. So thank you for being with us
I
today.
love it. I love doodles and daydreams. I love it. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Of course, of course. We would love to have you back anytime. Maybe in the future, once you've had another release or something, we can hit you back
Oh,
up and
please. I would
yeah,
love that. I would
that would
love
be
that. I'd love to talk more about the Skydust Kingdoms once it's launched. That would be amazing.
we're definitely gonna have to talk about that. Okay. Well, you have a wonderful day, and I guess that's it. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for watching. You need to go check out her books, T.L. Shreffler. Anything written by her, you need to go read it. Go get it. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.